You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Ayo. Another
Already.
live episode of Go Time Dolphins. A bit earlier than usual, but Heat night one. Game one's tonight, isn't it?
Game one of the Heat game is tonight, Kadeem.
So before we get an early episode. But yeah, Charlie, how are you?
I'm all right, Kadeem. I mean, you know what I need, bro? Let's pull up the schedule real quick. Florida Panthers and the Miami Heat. I think today is the only game that's not followed by a Panthers game. So the Panthers play on the 3rd, the Heat play today. Game 2 is on the 4th, and then Panthers game 2 is on the 5th. Panthers game 3 is on the 8th. Yeah, so it's back-to-back days every game. So let's see what happens when we get to game 6. June 15th for the Heat. June 16th for the Panthers. All right, you know what I need, Kadeem?
What do you need?
I need the Miami Heat to win the series in game 6. Celebrate on our home court, lift the trophy. What is it? Larry O'Brien trophy. Celebrate 4-time NBA champions. Then the very next day, drive 30 minutes north to the Panthers arena. Walk on the ice before the game starts. The Florida Panthers say, please direct your attention to the north side of the ice where we have the 4-time NBA champion Miami Heat. And they walk out on the ice. It's game 6. We're going to close out Vegas. So now we got the Heat winning the trophy. Then we got the Panthers winning the trophy. Not only do I need that, Kadeem, I need both of them to come to the Dolphins season opener, the home opener against New England at our first home game. And then, it's the kickoff home opener. And then the Miami Heat walk out with the Larry O'Brien. And then the Panthers walk out with the Stanley Cup. And the crowd goes wild to start off our season. That's what I need. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. And the only time I ever messed that up was when I had a D lineman standing across from me and I ain't call the right play. Ain't that wild?
It was quite a big D lineman, and not everyone can handle the pressure. So I'm just saying, when the spotlight was on me and I was doing it by myself, I couldn't handle the pressure. So it's okay. You're allowed a fumble every now and again. Put it that way.
I don't know, that's necessarily fumble. It's just I didn't call the right protection.
So what? You got sacked?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take a sack. It wasn't a fumble though. I didn't turn it over. I took a sack. I didn't call it right. I didn't slide the protection.
It was a sack. It's June 1st. It's officially June 1st, and there's a few things to get to before we can talk about the main topic. But Dalvin Cook could be cut on June 1st. Nothing. There's been no. It's going to happen. There's been no swaying either way outside of Mike McDaniel in his press conference this week saying the Dolphins obviously going to use the cap they have available to them to get better, and everyone kind of took that to mean Dalvin Cook. But there's also still the matter of paying someone like Christian Wilkins. So my first question to you is, with the available cap the Dolphins have, is like 13.1 mil with Byron Jones leaving. Should the priority be extending Christian Wilkins or signing Dalvin Cook or another player? Don't have to be necessarily Dalvin Cook.
I know the Dolphins like to have security. They like to have like $10 million of cap going into the season because you never know what's going to happen. And that's been the way we operated forever. And back in the Ryan Tannehill days, when Ryan Tannehill's durability was like a 99 and he took like 60 sacks in one season, and all of a sudden he went from completely durable to, oh, he can't stay healthy in 2 back-to-back years. We had Ryan Tannehill and he got hurt, the knee injury. And then we brought smoking Jay Cutler in off the couch. And we paid him $10 million to play that season. That was the year Jarvis Landry was supposed to get paid. And Jarvis Landry didn't get paid. And I wonder to this day if we would have paid Landry what we were supposed to pay him, or because of that injury, did everything get pushed back? Like, yo, this is a state of emergency. Sorry, Jarvis, we got you when we got you. And then, you know, his actions inside on the practice field and, you know, inside the clubhouse is just not it, right? And then Gates decided he wanted to move on. I wonder what that conversation is this season for players like Christian Wilkins. What type of conversations are you having for Robert Hunt, who wasn't a first-round pick, and he's in his contract year? He's on the right side of the line. You have a question mark at right tackle and friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson. So I wonder what type of conversations are going on. Is it ever, you know what? We'll figure it out when we get there. Let's go get Dalvin Cook, or let's go get D-Hop for 1 year and put all the chips in the table this season. I'm not sure what you do, Kadeem. I have no idea. But I'm okay with whatever we decide, because this team is loaded, and I understand that our window is now.
It's a weird one. I say weird because I think, and again, social media isn't a real place, but there's people on there and they obviously have their opinions. A lot of people on social media, Dolphin fans, they believe the play should be sign Christian Wilkins. They believe he deserves it. They believe that, I think, like in terms of the interior defensive line, we have no one under contract next season. So you extend Christian Wilkins, that's a no-brainer. Maybe there's a way you can extend Christian Wilkins and sign Dalvin Cook. I don't think that's possible. Obviously, people believe we need to strengthen on the offensive line. And we'll talk about that at some point as well, because Liam Eichenberg said this week he's been taking snaps at center because Connor Williams isn't at voluntary workouts. But if it was me, I'd extend Wilkins. Cook is obviously a great back. He isn't it's not like our running back room is completely empty. I think we have a good enough running back room to. Good evening, Rob. I believe you have a running back room that can carry us throughout the entire season, has multiple different things. The love for Devon A-Chain is growing every single day. And I saw someone on Twitter say, oh, no one's speaking about Devon A-Chain before the draft. It's like, no, you just weren't in the right places. Like, I'll show you this tweet later. But yeah, I'd extend Wilkins.
But I ain't gonna lie, my bad, bro. I need you to show me this person on Twitter so I can tag them in the reaction of GTD reaction of Devon A-Chain getting drafted. I need to find that person and add them in that for real. But
you know what? It's not even a reaction. We had literally the 2J24 talks about, Devon A-Chain. He comes up on the episode. The thumbnail for that, which we do in advance, had Devon A-Chain in front and center. I don't know when you done 2J24, but it was definitely before the draft. So, yeah, Devon A-Chain has plenty of love over here, at Go Time Dolphins. People were speaking about him. Just put it that way.
Man. And I think in a couple of the mock drafts that we had, I think I mentioned that I don't think we will be able to get Devon Achane because I don't think he'll be there for us in the later rounds, which apparently he wouldn't be because we took him earlier. So I don't know if we would take a Devon Achane later, if he would have been there later. But all that being said, it's interesting we're having this conversation because I text Sherrod Steve and I basically asked him the question, Dalvin Cook or Hopkins, just Hopkins or Cook, and he said Cook, and that was just a question, and I'm like, yo, I would lean Hopkins. We talked about that briefly. And it's not really just for adding to the team, but it's really like, yo, who is KC gonna depend on? The Bills getting Hop, like now that's direct impact on our division. So it's mostly for KC doesn't get him, Buffalo doesn't get him. So I don't know, man. I don't want to say I'm glad I'm not in this position because I would like to be in a position to make these type of decisions, but I'm not sure what they do. This is getting to a point where it's a bit intricate, I think is the word that I'm looking for, where, you know what, this is outside of my pay rate. You know what I'm saying? And people like Chris Greer and what is his name? Marvin Allen?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, you know, these boys make those type of decisions. So we'll see what happens. Either way it goes, I'm okay with it. Like we talked about when Tyreek Hill, the trade compensation we moved for Tyreek Hill, I didn't love it, but I love acquiring Tyreek Hill. And then look at what happened. One can argue Tyreek Hill is one of the top 3 best receivers in the league right now. One can make that argument. You got Justin Jefferson up there. I gotta imagine like Devontae Adams will be in the conversation, but he doesn't have a quarterback no more. Like, yo, there's an argument that can be made that Tyreek Hill is a top 3 receiver in the league.
That's definitely another ranking episode. I love our ranking episodes. We've got to do a top 10 wide receiver rankings at some point over the next few weeks. Obviously, the main one is the quarterback rankings. You do not want to miss that. Thomas Valentine messaged me the morning after he was on the show. He said he was on the quarterback rankings already. He said he started it already. He's ready for that. So that's coming up in a few weeks. Sherrod Steve joining us. Anyone else who wants to join us, we'll let you know the criteria as we get nearer to the time. But yeah, I think. Listen, in an ideal world, with his 10 walk-ins and Cook would come here and play for the money which we can offer him to play here, if that makes sense. I think, like I mentioned in the last episode, Hopkins is going to want the bag. Miami can't afford to give him the bag. And there's nothing wrong with that because we're paying guys like Teron Armstead, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey. Like, that's just the way the team has been built. I always think there's ways to, I think there's obviously ways you can lower your cap number by restructuring certain guys and stuff like that. Maybe the Dolphins do look at that if they make some of these moves. But I think, yeah, to kind of go back to what I said, I definitely extend Wilkins before I look to bring in anyone else.
I don't know that Hop wants the bag though. Like, because he kind of said, yo, it's not about the money. I want to play for a Super Bowl. I'll take a 1-year deal. Reportedly, he's saying I'll take a 1-year deal. So I don't know how much of the bag that this guy's going to want. That's here, no there.
I was just going to say as well, I think one of our earliest conversations, because we met the Jay Cutler season, I think one of our earliest conversations was talking about, or you saying that Jarvis Landry would have got paid had Ryan Tannehill not been hurt. Shout out DB. And again, I was like, that was the plan. And then was like, yo, we've got to bring you a quarterback. The money we was going to give you, we have to give to Jay Cutler. And at that point, it's like, yeah, it's difficult. There's probably a lesson there to.
I wonder where that season goes if Matt Moore is the quarterback instead of Jay Cutler. Like, who I wonder what and Matt Moore is being talked about as one of the best backups in the league back then. So I wonder what would happen.
Yeah. Another one, quick one from me. As I mentioned earlier, Liam Eichenberg saying he's taking snaps at centre with Connor Williams not at voluntary workouts. Is there anything to that? And I think people kind of saying, well, if Liam Eichenberg's taking snaps at centre, who's at left guard? And everyone assumes it's Isaiah Wynn. But is Liam Eichenberg an option at centre? And has him being moved to centre because Williams isn't there, has that allowed Wynn the head start at the left guard position?
I think it's all about looks. Connor Williams isn't at voluntary practices. Let's give different people looks to see what we get. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see what that looks like. And if Eichenberg at center is a look that we want to see because we want to utilize the pieces that we have, let's see what it looks like. I don't know that Eichenberg wins the center job, but it doesn't mean Wynn would have the left guard position because Connor Williams is still on the team. So it would probably mean Connor Williams would go to left guard and Eichenberg would be center. And I don't know how happy the team, the coaching staff would be with that. Maybe they know exactly what they have in Connor Williams at center, and then they know exactly what they have in Eichenberg at left guard, but maybe they don't love what they have in Eichenberg at left guard. So I still think Wynn and Eichenberg will battle it out at left guard, and I don't think that's a guaranteed position. I think we're going to see some changes throughout the season at left guard.
Yeah, I know this is a team, a coaching staff, which especially on the offensive line, they like to move guys around because, as you've said multiple times, you can only dress a fine number of offensive linemen, for a game. And if if Connor Williams touch wood goes, or don't touch wood, he doesn't go down, but if Connor Williams does go down, they're going to need to find a center right there and then. And you want to be able to, you know what? If push came to shove, we know Liam Eichenberg can move there, and we can have whoever, we can move things around. I think that's one of the good things about this Dolphins offensive line, even if it's not the best offensive line in the league. There's multiple guys on this line who can move around if need be. We know Rob Hunt, friend of the podcast, Rob Hunt can play right guard, right tackle. We know friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson can play either tackle, can play left. He played left guard, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, so can play left guard. So you basically allow yourself to have these guys play multiple positions if someone goes down. It's just interesting that they have used Eichenberg to play center. There's the guy we picked up at the end of the draft, undrafted. How do you pronounce his name again? Is it Olave?
You talking about the tackle?
No, the center. The undrafted center we picked up.
Oh, the undrafted center. I thought you were talking about the tackle that we got from, I think it was Michigan.
Ryan Harris, I believe that was his name. Was it Ryan Harris?
No, I don't think it was Harris. I think it was like Hayes.
Or yes, Ryan. No, I think you're right. I think it was Ryan Hayes. Ryan Hayes, American football player, Miami Dolphins. You're right. And I think it was Olave. I might have got his name.
Yeah, wrong. There's a lot of undrafteds that you're not gonna get no help from me on the undrafted guys.
No worries at all. I guess one last thing from Alama Ulave, Ulave. Apologize for getting your name wrong. There's one more thing I want to get to, which kind of leads into what we're talking about today. Mike McDaniel in the press conference as well spoke about only having 6 OTA sessions. So the Dolphins are allowed 10, and he chose to have 6. And I'll read out what he said. A lot of things factor into it. I think that by and large, players, coaches, people in general do best when why is explained to them. In this particular situation, I think that it is crucial that we have as convicted, present, deliberate football players when they're approaching practice and really recognizing how each opportunity is very crucial to the development of the team. I think when you're able to acknowledge players' hard work and they get positively reinforced with actual action, I think it goes a long way. They are afforded the less practices because they've earned it because of the way they've approached the whole offseason. And basically, yeah, that's the gist of it. So to cut a long story short, the Dolphin players have worked out really hard off the pitch before getting to OTAs.
Off the
No point
pitch.
in having 10 off the field. Apologies. Off the field, off the practice field. So yeah, given some days off, let's have 6 focused sessions instead of having 10 kind of drawn out ones. What do you make of that?
I'm all right with it. You get a feel for, I was gonna say your employees, but you get a feel for your players. You know, Coach McDaniel wears a long sleeve every practice, and it's probably in the 90s nowadays, 90 degrees. And a long time ago, his first season, someone asked, "Why are you wearing long sleeves in the Sunshine State?" He was like, I want to get a feel for what the players are feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get acclimated to the weather too. So it's good to have a pulse. And I'm not just saying about the heat, but the reps. You don't want to overwork anyone. We all know how important this season is coming up. You probably already know what you have. You probably know what you don't have. And this is the second season. It's not the first season we're installing the offense. This is, you know what? I know where we went wrong last year. I know I could have got some plays out faster. And there's no telling what that 4th and 1 looks like in Buffalo if I would have called the right play, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that are in the equation, and I don't think finding out what you have is one of those things that's at the top of the list in that equation.
Yeah. I also think, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you remember, didn't the Dolphins last offseason have like really short but intense training sessions or practice sessions?
Cannot remember.
I feel like that was a thing. It was like the Dolphins weren't having like 2-3 hour sessions. They were having like 60 minutes, but it was at full pace. And I think the whole thinking behind it was, hey, this is the pace we've got to play at. So let's get to it. Let's get used to it now. And like you said, in terms of only having 6 sessions, this is year 2. We don't need to come in and we'll learn everything. It's like, hey, you guys should be up to speed, especially where, as we've seen from the videos, the photos, these guys have been working together essentially since the season finished. It's like, I know you guys have been doing your homework off the field. So because of that, let's not have all these sessions. And I also believe normally the last session normally gets cancelled. It's like, hey, great, you guys have worked hard. The interesting thing, and again, touch wood, just doesn't happen, is that if the Dolphins don't have a good season for whatever reason, there'll be people that will look back at this and go, oh, because they only had 6 OTA sessions, blah, 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 all that nonsense. Which actually reminds me, what you going to say?
I think some people are of the belief that the reason why some of the DBs were hurt or injured last year, like X had groin injuries, DBs were dropping like flies. A lot of people believe it's because they had to run around chasing Hill and Waddle off season. You see what I'm saying? So you want to get a feel for your players. Maybe, who knows? Maybe that was a conversation last year, and then coach said, you know what? Maybe somebody was right. Maybe we slid out it back a little bit. We know what we have.
Yeah. And I guess final thing from me, the Dolphins announced they're having a joint practice against, I think it's the Texans. So that'll be interesting as well. But I messaged you at the start of the week, Charlie, about this coach rankings I saw. Now, you haven't seen them. It got sent in a group chat of mine. I was like, this is quite interesting. Before we delve into what this rankings has, where would you rank Mike McDaniel's among his 31 other peers?
Off the top of my head, can I like pull up the teams?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Give me a second. Let's see what I can pull up here. NFL. Let's go. Miami Dolphins. I try to search Miami, and the Heat were the first thing that popped up. I appreciate that.
It's funny, when I go to say thanks on my phone, it comes up saying Tua sometimes. Like if I get it wrong, it says Tua. And then, so yeah, Clearly, I type in T for Tua way too up, more than I type in thanks. But yeah,
This is an interesting conversation because I think, oddly enough, or funny enough, I think Coach Spoelstra for the Miami Heat doesn't get enough credit, and he is easily one of the top 3 coaches in the NBA and arguably the best coach in the NBA right now. And when he after he won it and made it to this what is it, his 6th final, people are like, maybe Spoelstra is pretty good. Like, he doesn't have anybody to work with. And I'm thinking about McDaniel. I'm like, not only that, think about all the other coaches around him, like in the league. Like, let's talk about all the other coaches and then find out where Spoelstra is on that list. So now I'm looking at a couple of teams and I'm like, well, let's look at these other coaches. I like McDaniel more than I like this coach. I like McDaniel more than I like that coach. But if I'm going to throw out and not have all the coaches in front of me, which we actually did have a graph. We had a chart of coaches. I'm just going to say at the top of my head, Coach McDaniel is probably the 13th best coach in the NFL right now.
13th. Who would make, off the top of your head, who would make your top 5?
Hey, that's hard, bro. Off the top of my head, all right, not in order, top 5, right? This top 5 is not in order. I would say Mike Tomlin. I would say Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, Sean McVay. I said top 4. That was supposed to be top 5. So maybe McVay not in the top 5, but he's a real good coach.
You got Sean Payton coming back, obviously.
See, Sean Payton tricky because he liked to be the GM too, and then he ran the GM to oblivion in New Orleans and then bailed out on it. Like, yeah, I'm out of here. I can't fix this. I'm out. And so I don't know about Sean McVay is tricky. McVay is definitely top 7 for sure, 100%. I mean, I said McVay, Sean Payton. Payton is top 7, 100%. I did lose a little bit for Sean Payton though when he thought Teddy Bridgewater was going to take to a starting job. So I kind of look at some things a little bit different after he said that.
2 names I'll throw you quickly.
Go ahead.
Carl Shanahan and McDermott.
I thought of both of those actually. I thought of Shanahan. I thought of McDermott. I don't see conviction to put them in the top 5 though. I love Kyle Shanahan.
About top 10? Would it make your top 10?
Yeah, all those will make the top 10. Sean Payton, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, McDermott. Isn't it Doug McDermott? Isn't it? Or is it Sean McDermott?
I thought it was Brian McDermott. I think Brian McDermott is an old Reading football coach, as in like my football. Sean McDermott.
It's Sean McDermott. All right. So
right.
And honorable mention to Brian Daboll, because I said, yo, dog needs to be considered, and he turned that Giants team around. So
would you have Daboll ahead of McDaniel?
I would not. I liked him when we were talking about the 2 coaches. I was happy with either one. I'll take Daboll or McDaniel, and I will live with it, and I'll be happy with it. Shout out to Bert. He didn't believe me, and then in the middle of the season, he's like, all right, Slick, you might have been right about that. My dog Bert. It's okay. We all wrong sometimes. Today, no, I would not have Daboll ahead of McDaniel. Although to turn around and make Danny Nichols look like Danny Dollars, or turn him into Danny Dollars, that is quite the feat. So Daboll, I feel like he's in the top 15, but again, we don't have all the names in front of us. So if we had all the names, maybe we would be moving some things around. But Daboll has to be an honorable mention.
Well, I'll bring it up then. So this is from Ross Tucker. Someone done a graphic for this top 32. Immediately, if you're listening to the audio version, Mike McDaniel comes in at number 14. And you said you had him at 13, right?
I had him in my top 13. I said.
So I'll briefly speed round most of these coaches, but there's a few which really stand out to me.
Hold
So
on,
this
hold
top
on,
five.
hold on. You don't want to go at start out. All right, go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay, because there's some like D'Amico Ryans, the Texans coach.
No, go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay, so the top 5 is Andy Reid, number 1, Bill Belichick, number 2, Mike Tomlin, number 3, Sean Payton, number 4, and Nick Sirianni, number 5. I smiled when you mentioned McVay because he had him at 7. He's 7 here. I smiled when you said McDaniel at 14 because McDaniel 13 and McDaniel's 14 on here. The one that really surprised me, and I don't want to give the Bills no credit, but to have Sean McDermott at 22 seems wild to me. Like, to say he's not a top 20 head coach, I don't quite understand that. Also to have like, again, I'm not the biggest paper planes fan, but Robert Saleh at 25 is a bit like he's kind of building something quite okay over there. So yeah, it's a difficult one given some of these coaches have never coached in the NFL at head coach level. But yeah, to me the most egregious one in my opinion is Sean McDermott at 22. I don't understand that one.
All right, so we could go. I kind of feel like Travis Kelce right now. Who is that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you ever seen that. Can you name all the coaches in the league? I'm looking at these boys like we'll go through for all our audio listeners. We'll go through the names of all 32 coaches so you can see where they're ranked. And this is from 1st to 32, 1 to 32. Andy Reid, Belichick, Tomlin, Sean Payton, Nick Sirianni, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Brian Dable, Pete Carroll, Doug Peterson, John Harbaugh, Zach Taylor, Mike Vrabel, Miami's own Mike McDaniel at 14, and I can't remember O'Connell's first name, but O'Connell from the Minnesota Vikings at 15. Dan Campbell at 16, Matt LaFleur, I think it's Matt, not Mike. Matt LaFleur at 17, Arthur Smith at 18, Ron Rivera at 19, Staley from the Chargers at 20. Is it Mike McCarthy at 21? Sean McDermott at 22. I think it's Kevin Stefanski.
Kevin. Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski at 23, which is sneaky low to me. I ain't gonna lie, and I'll get to that. Frank Wright at 24 for Carolina. Robert Salah at 25. Todd Bowles, 26. And I don't even know who that is. Who's Allen?
Yeah, neither do I.
Who is Allen at the Saints at 27?
I'll just have a look. Saints.
You know what?
Allen.
No, we good because there's a couple.
Dennis.
There's a couple more that we don't even.
Dennis Allen.
Oh, it is Dennis Allen. I actually do know. I need to put a little more respect on Dennis Allen's name. I do know Dennis Allen. My bad, it just didn't. And then you got Eberflus at 28 in Chicago. You got Josh McDaniels at 29 in the Raiders, which he could arguably be last in 32. Then you have, I don't even know how you pronounce this dude last name. He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles last year. He's the head coach for the Colts this year. Shane Steichen, I think his name is. And D'Amico Ryans is 31, and Gannon for the Cardinals is 32. That being said, if you could leave this up for me, Kadeem, just as a reference, Kevin Stefanski is sneaky good, bro. He doesn't get enough credit. He was offensive coordinator for Minnesota, those Minnesota teams that were that went deep in the playoffs. The one that took Case Keenum and Diggs took to the NFC Championship, almost went to the Super Bowl with the what do they call that miracle? against the Saints? Meadowlands? It wasn't Meadowlands. It was Minnesota. What do they
Is
call
it
it?
Mercedes Benz?
Nah, it wasn't Mercedes. That's in Atlanta. I forgot what they call that miracle. But the Vikings walk-off touchdown when Diggs threw the helmets, which was epic. One of the most memorable games I ever seen, moments in NFL that I ever seen, I should say. Kevin Stefanski is a offensive genius. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but he really is, bro. So he's real good in the run game, knows how to use his receivers. Kevin Stefanski is my dog. He should be moved up. I think he should be ahead of Staley. Matter of fact, Staley is 20. Staley for the Chargers is 20. Salah could be ahead of Staley. McDermott could be ahead of Staley. Frank Wright is ahead of Staley. Stefanski is ahead of Staley. And maybe McCarthy.
I think Todd Bowles is ahead of Staley as well.
Yeah, I'll take Todd Bowles over Staley. I don't know about taking McCarthy over Staley, though.
Oh, no. I think McCarthy, you need to slide back, to be honest.
With Eberflus, McDaniels, Steichen, D'Amico Ryans, and Gannon coming in the last 5 of the head coaches in the NFL, I'm really okay with that. They can stay there. Here's my thing about LaFleur. If you have Aaron Rodgers and you're kicking field goals, bro, instead of letting Aaron Rodgers go for stuff on 4th down and 9, I don't know about that, bro. I don't like it. Same thing what we had in the NBA with what was this coach names from Masula from Boston, not calling timeouts, asking your players to bail you out. Nah, bro, there's something there. So LaFleur has something to show me, dog, because I actually think Love is gonna pan out. I think what's Love first name? Jordan Love. Jordan Love. I'm my crosshair. I'm crossing over from basketball. I'm getting everything. I was about to call him Kevin Love. It's a lot.
I was gonna say Kevin Love as
well.
Bro,
listen, bro. It's the NBA Finals. The Heat are in it. My bad, y'all. So Jordan Love, I think he's gonna be a quarterback. And is he gonna be a top 5? Probably not. But I'm just saying, I think I'm gonna like Jordan Love. LaFleur is overrated to me because he had Aaron Rodgers and still didn't get it done and still took Aaron Rodgers off the field when you had 1 possession left and you could just end the game with Aaron Rodgers. So I got to look at LaFleur a little different. Dan Campbell, I love Dan Campbell at the Lions, but I was watching some Lions games where he was just used to being trash, like the team's garbage. So we're going to coach this way. Like, no, bro, your team is good enough to win now. So he will play for overtime. I'm like, what are you doing? You got 3 timeouts and 2 minutes left. I don't know if y'all remember that game. Detroit had 3 timeouts and 2 minutes and 10 seconds. They had 4 timeouts because they had a 2-minute warning. And they were playing for overtime. And that was just terrible coaching for me. So as much as I love Dan Campbell, no, bro, you got to be more aggressive. And then let's get the Coach McDrip coming in at 14, which when I eyeballed it, before I even eyeballed the list, I said maybe 13 or higher. And looking at the list, let's just go over who's ahead of Coach McDaniel on this list. Mike Vrabel, Zach Taylor, John Harbaugh, Doug Peterson, Pete Carroll, Brian Daboll, Sean McVay, Shanahan, Sirianni, Peyton, Tomlin, Belichick, Reed. I ain't gonna lie. This is respectful. 14 is very respectful. I just named 6 Hall of Fame coaches.
Reed, Belichick, Tomlin, Peyton, Cavill, Peterson.
Yeah. I named about 6 Hall of Fame coaches, and Harbaugh and McDaniel's coming in after that. So I'm okay with this right now, but I can make a little argument for Vrabel. We could bump it up to 13. I could bump up McDaniel being better than Vrabel at 13. Zach Taylor at 12. He has the accolades. Zach Taylor made it to a Super Bowl, took the team that drafted 2nd overall and made them into something in no time. Zach Taylor has to get credit for that. He does have Joey Bullets over there, and he that offense is legit. So Zach Taylor has to get credit. Former Miami Dolphins quarterback coach Zach Taylor, by the way. has to get credit for that. So right now, there's no gripe with Taylor being better than McDaniel on this list today. I do believe McDaniel can work his way up this list. I'm okay with Dayball being ahead of McDaniel. I'm okay with Shanahan and McVay and Doug Peterson. These are multiple Super Bowls. And look, Harbaugh, Super Bowl coach, Super Bowl winning. Peterson, Super Bowl winning head coach. Carroll, Super Bowl winning head coach. McVay, Shanahan. Shanahan did not win a Super Bowl as a head coach, but McVay did. I'm okay with where this list has McDaniel at 14. The only gripe I have is one, which happened to be Mike Vrabel. So I think McDaniel could be bumped up one spot. One can argue that Dayball is a bit high on this list, but I can understand when you turn Danny Nichols into Danny Dollars. You should get some respect on that.
I think, yeah, you look at the top 16, and like you said, there's an argument to be made that there's about 8 legitimate, like, there's a minimum 6 Hall of Fame coaches in there. There's an argument made that there's probably 8 in there. So, like I said, Reed, Belichick, Tomlin, Payton are guarantees first ballot Hall of Famers. McVay might make it, given kind of
Hold on. You think Sean Payton is a first ballot Hall of Famer? Like as soon as he gets up for retirement, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. You think?
I think he will. I think because again,
I disagree. But I give you Hall of Fame. I just disagree on first ballot.
I think, and then what? Pete Carroll, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Pete Carroll, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Harbaugh, probably first ballot as well.
He's Hall of Fame. If someone said first ballot, I would not argue it, but he's Hall of Fame. That's already 6.
Yeah. And I think McVay will probably make the Hall of Fame given what he done when he first joined the league. One of him as well. Shanahan's an interesting one because he hasn't won a ring yet, but he probably ran the best offense in the NFL for the better part of a good few years now. So he might make it on that. All these coaches have accolades. Either they've been to a Super Bowl or they've won a Super Bowl. McDaniel was, for a first-year head coach to be 14.
Yep.
I'd probably have Dable and McDaniel nearer to each other because, especially like you said, Dable turned Danny Dimes into Danny Dollars, but McDaniel turned Tua into what people thought was a complete bust to a near MVP quarterback. Like, and again, we were 8-3. If Tua's healthy, we beat Buffalo in the playoffs. If Tua's healthy for the full season, we might even win the division. Who knows? So it's like McDaniel's kind of at 14 because he didn't have a full quarterback or a healthy quarterback for the entire season.
Yeah.
But like you said on the last podcast, his offense had 2,000-yard receivers?
2 1,000-yard receivers, and one could argue if Tua never got hurt, one of those receivers probably would have broke the receiving record and made 2,000 yards.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's an odd one. It's like McDaniel, in my opinion, is low, but you can't place him higher, if that makes sense. Like, if you was going to... Again, it's difficult. If you were going to go into a game and need a head coach, who would you go with? Everyone picking Andy Reid. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the same time, it's like Belichick has done so much across his entire career. People will pick Belichick. But right now, McDaniel is beating Belichick. Like, in terms of his McDaniel Dolphins team against Belichick's Patriots team. Like, McDaniel wins that. And again, McDaniel, of that list, he's beat Belichick, was it twice last season?
Yeah, he did beat Belichick
he beat
twice.
Belichick twice.
No. Did he beat Belichick twice? Did we? Yeah. No, we didn't lose. We lost to the Patriots because of the Bridgewater got hurt.
Oh yeah, but okay, but even then, he's 1-1 against Belichick. One of the losses is without his quarterback. He's beaten the Ravens. Lost to Shanahan.
Right. So there's nuance here because you got to think about longevity, right? So Harbaugh has a Super Bowl and he has longevity over McDaniel. So his track record is a little more proven. Like and the winning seasons, how many division titles, stuff like that. So if you argue who's the better coach between Harbaugh and McDaniel, you don't really have too much of an argument for McDaniel just off of longevity. Yeah, McDaniel won the head-to-head, but he has to put together a longer, more decorated resume when you talk about the Harbaughs. Because I ain't gonna lie, I could say McDaniel over Peterson, although Peterson has a Super Bowl. But I will not say McDaniel over Peterson today, because today he's not. He doesn't have it right now because Peterson has Sunshine. He just made look like a legit quarterback. So Sunshine did not look like a legit quarterback before Doug Peterson, but he does now. So that goes under Doug Peterson's that's the Captain Doug Peterson's feather. And let me just reset real quick. Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons are always for the fans and by the fans. Y'all favorite podcast. We're talking head coach power rankings 2023. And our coach, McDaniel, comes in at 14 on this list. Where do you guys have him? Leave a comment. Let us know where y'all got him. Hit us up on social media. Let us know where y'all got Coach McDaniel in the NFL. Go ahead, Kadeem.
Bob said stream crashed. We're still going live as far as I know. I'm having no issues my end. Hope you guys are okay on your end. Looking at McDaniel at 14, I also think there's an argument to be made. He could be 17th, but he could be 17th because Stefanski and McDermott are way too low in my opinion, and they're probably top 16 quarterback. Some top 16 coaches.
Who did you say could be 17th?
McDaniel.
Oh, so you saying like Stefanski could be ahead of McDaniel?
Yeah, and McDermott as well.
Okay.
I think again, if this list had McDaniel at 17th and the three coaches above him were McDermott, Stefanski, and even Ron Rivera, I'd be like, you know what? Because again, Ron Rivera's Panthers team, before we got old in the tooth, like Rivera's got legs in this league. So yeah, I think McDaniel is. I think if we're talking about the range, he's like the 13. No, maybe like the 12 to 17 range. Anything outside of that, is harsh if it's the other way in terms of like, if he's 19th, 20, and probably a bit too generous if he's, top 10. The interesting thing is there's no reason why McDaniel wins a playoff game this year. He's not a top 10 coach because some of these guys, and again, no offense to them, just have the longevity. Like Belichick is still a great coach, but it's more for the longevity as opposed to what he's doing right now. Like Tomlin is just one of the greatest coaches. He always finds a way to turn these teams around, even when there's nothing there. And it'll be very interesting to see what Sean Payton does in Denver with Russell Wilson and the others, and whether Brian Dable can once again keep Danny. Can Brian Dable keep Danny Dollars and not revert back to Danny Dimes?
Hey, shout out to Hammer. Hammer, don't hurt him. Checking in from work. I see you, bro. Here's my thing, Kadeem. I just going off of this. I don't have any gripes. Like I was one off. I thought McDaniel could have been 13, and that's it. Like I can understand Sean McDermott. I keep calling him Doug. I can understand McDermott being behind McDaniel, but I could also understand not at 22 though. Like if McDermott came in at 15, I'd be like, okay. But if McDermott came in at 13, I'd also be like, okay, I could live with that. I like Stefanski so much, bro. And people sleep on Stefanski, man. Like he's gonna show himself this year. Arthur Smith is another coach that I like. He was the offensive coordinator for Tennessee under Mike Vrabel, and he was the reason why that offense went with Tannehill. So you seen Tannehill get all this, I don't want to say shine, but all this credit for turning it around post Gates for whatever reason. But it was really Arthur Smith that did that. So Arthur Smith just hasn't had the weapons, hasn't had the team in Atlanta to do anything, and I think that can shake something this year now that he has somewhat of an offense. So it's just hard. Your situation. How did you come in as a head coach? Your first situation. You probably not getting the best team. You probably getting a team that needs some TLC. You feel me? So I think Arthur Smith has room to jump up this list. McDermott will jump up this list this year. Stefanski will come up on this list this year. Vrabel will decline. I think Zach Taylor will decline. Not saying that he's going to have a bad season, but just on this list, there's a couple coaches that will decline. Like you said, it's longevity. And what happens, Sean McVay, when you don't have a team full of Pro Bowlers? You know what I'm saying? Let's see what you got. So yeah, he made 2 Super Bowls, so that's an argument. But now he doesn't have a team with that looks like a Pro Bowl roster, and we're gonna see what you do with it. And LA might be able to shake something over there in that division. There's only 3 teams in that division. Arizona has the number 1 pick already, if you ask me.
What I will say, and yeah, like people should be moved up. I think there's a legit argument to be made that Josh McDaniels is the worst coach in the NFL.
Yep.
At 32. Like he's like you said, the Cardinals have number 1 pick. The Raiders might sneak up and grab that, and just like, because I believe already Jimmy G's injured, and like did they restructure his contract? His contract to like throw some stuff in there because the guy's always injured. So
Jimmy G just had another surgery on something that he didn't have surgery for last year. He came in having a different surgery. He's already hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's in terms of power rankings and where, like, you know, quarterbacks and that kind of stuff. This is probably the fairest power ranking list I've seen. To shout out to Ross Tucker, I think he's done an excellent job. But yeah, Josh McDaniels is the worst coach in the NFL, and I don't think there's much of an argument to be made otherwise.
Yeah, you got first-time head coaches that haven't played a game, so that's probably the only reason. Like, matter of fact, that's the truth. Steichen, Ryans, and Gannon have not played a game at head coach. That's the only reason they're behind McDaniel on this list. Josh McDaniels on this list. So had they had 1 season under their belt, Josh McDaniels would be the worst coach on this list. So hey, shout out to Ross Tucker for this list. This is a pretty good list. Outside of my opinion, maybe 4 or 5 different coaches maybe needing to be bumped up or moved down. This is a pretty good list, bro. I cannot even complain about this. Shout out to Ross Tucker.
100%. 100%.
Hey, y'all come on over to bonus time with us, man. We're going to chop it up a little bit more. I got it. Yo. Hey, bring this down, Kadeem, please. I need everybody to hear me. I just want the Miami Heat to win in 6. Take the trophy to the Panthers Stadium before the game starts. And then they say, ladies and gentlemen, the world champions Miami Heat. And they come out with the trophy before the Panthers game. And then the Panthers Stadium celebrates like, yo, we're about to get ours too. And then the Panthers win their Stanley Cup that night in game 6. And then both teams come to the Dolphins home opener and bring both trophies. Like, yo, it's your turn. That's all I want. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie two stripes. I got 3 stripes now. I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Yeah, man. You know.
Charlie 3 stripes.
Charlie 3 stripes, man. I got my 3rd stripe. I ain't posted on that, and I'm working in silence, moving in silence. But got my 3rd stripe. Got a lot of work to put in for the rest of the year. football season's coming up, so I imagine football gonna have a lot of my time. Going to Europe this year, gonna see my dog Kadeem for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Hey, it doesn't feel like 2 years, does it? Like it don't feel like, I feel like time flies, bro.
Oh,
But
yeah, like I've known you for what, 6 years now?
no, is it 6?
When was it 2017 the Dolphins came up? Well, 2016, 2017, Dolphins came over London.
It was 2017.
Just, yeah, 6 years.
It will be 6 years in October this year.
Yeah.
Dang, 6-year anniversary. That's what's up, Kadeem. Dang, that's what's up, bro. My dog.
Yeah.
What you got for us?
There was something. It wasn't DeAndre Hopkins. It wasn't Dalvin Cook. It wasn't Christian Wilkins. It slipped my mind, but there's always something. You see much of the practice clips the Dolphins have been putting out, and if so, what do you make of them so far?
No, I haven't seen them like that. I'm actually not even supposed to be in tune with a lot of stuff, but I only stayed down here because of what's going on in South Florida sports. So it's hard to focus on Dolphins offseason stuff when you got like championship stuff happening with the other teams. So I'm missing out on some Dolphins offseason stuff right now.
So you didn't see or hear what McDaniel said about the camera onto his helmet, which
I didn't hear.
Kind of,
what did he say?
So he said, and lo and behold, it's not earth-shattering. It's a camera, but it does have audio. And I think some of the strong attributes of that technology are that you get to hear play calls. You can library those play calls for players to hear when they're studying. It's a tool to help really drive home certain coaching points and just see what they're seeing to be on the same page as the player. So the most important thing to me was what he said at the start. It's not earth-shattering, because it's not. It didn't need to be a big deal, and some people made it a big deal. So yeah.
Yeah, people try so hard to just talk down about our quarterback. Hey, we're gonna have our fun in the sun, Kadeem. The Heat, the Panthers, the Dolphins. That's all I'm saying, bro. We're gonna have our fun in the sun, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to Rob. We got both on Germany game. Yep. We'll both be in Germany at the very, very, very least. Yep. If we're at the game, we'll try our best to be there.
Yeah. So I never went to an international game without going to the game, actually. So I would like to think I go to the game, but if for whatever reason I don't make the game, I'll still be in Germany. We're already heading over there. We'll be there 2 weeks early. Me and Kadeem go chop it up in London too.
We should book like a podcast studio and record a podcast there.
In Germany or London?
In Germany.
How long are you gonna be over there?
Probably the weekend. We'll be like fly out Friday night and probably get back like Sunday night or Monday morning.
Probably not a studio, but probably should do it live in front of fans.
That as well, yeah.
Like we do like you know how we did it outside the stadium last time? We'll just asking stuff to fans.
Yeah.
Like we could do that live.
Or maybe even like in a German pub. Everyone's going mad around us. It'd be noisy, but I've seen people do live shows in pubs and stuff. Normally goes down quite well.
I like it.
So yeah. But no, I think that's all from me. Outside of it's like 98 days left until football season. Only a few more days left of OTAs, and then that's when kind of things go dead again. But we're here every single week. Share, like, and subscribe. There's no time off for Go Time Dolphins. We're constantly talking, constantly, providing you with news, information, analysis, rankings. And yeah, definitely want to make sure you are subscribed for the quarterback rankings episode, because that is going to be one of every single quarterback rankings episode. Obviously, after the initial one, people will know what me and Charlie have, but it'll be great to see what other people have, where they rank among, do they have 2 of top 10? Do they have all that kind of stuff? So I believe that is it for me. Charlie, anything else you want to say?
That's all we got. And Charlie Touche was right about Tua being top 10 when he made his list last time. That's all I'm saying.
See, you had to end it on that, but it's fine. It's not an issue because we will see what happens when it's all